Hey, my little crafty corner friends, it's Chandel again with another process video. Woohoo, look at me. All right, so I am working through the Beauty Queen Halvesies, and you can see here I've got a stack. I cheated and kind of grabbed some things that I wanted to play with. I'm using this cute Beauty Queen without a head. All I think of is like, Disney, off with their heads, and the Queen of Hearts. But anyways, so this sweet little beauty queen has no legs, missing a hand, no head, but still we can use her. So I grabbed a couple pages from a magazine that I have on stash. I think it's Country Living Vintage or something. And I wanted a kitchen scene, and I wanted to document my recent baking endeavor. I used to bake a lot before I went gluten-free, and then, you go through the whole thing and what can I eat? Oh my gosh, I can't have flour. Anyways, I've since come back from that boomerang of sadness and said, yes, I can. I can still eat some of my favorite things. So I found this great recipe for gluten-free lemon bundt cake. My husband and I love all things lemon, and if it's tart, even better. It had great lemon flavor. I mean, the cake was amazing. But anyways, we're not here to talk about cake. We're here to talk about this layout. So anyways, I decided on this kitchen compared to the other one because I liked the bits of black and like a minty green that it had on the top. You can see there the kitchenware, the teapots and stuff. And that black ties into her apron. She's got like little ladies on there that are, cooking and baking and all the sorts of things. So I wanted to be able to pull out the black from her and add it to the layout. So I have a vintage, what is that, Cowan's General Merchandise receipt, and I do have those in the shop. I think I have a few left. And before I started, I used my vintage typewriter and typed on where the name line, it says gluten-free lemon bundt cake. And I just typed that in so it'd be done and ready as I started recording, because I really want to try to keep these videos short. And I don't know what it is, but we have like the attention span of squirrels now. So I'm just, myself included, so I'm trying to keep it short for y'all. But anyway, so I'm grabbing a couple pieces of ephemera for my stash. I have my little photo of the lemon bundt cake on my mini Instax camera that I had printed out previously. And I have a couple like Dear Lizzie florals and some Maggie Holmes ephemera piece that says bakery on there, and I'm just trying to lay it out. I got to keep in mind, of course, that I got to hole punch this and how far from the top and how far from the bottom. You saw earlier in the beginning I had measured it, and I wanted to make sure it's going to fit within my 2024 documenting book. So I'm just kind of playing around with that yummy title. Initially I liked it up there, but then I decided to move it towards the end of the process. I don't know, towards the end, whatever, you know what I mean. Because I didn't like it there, even though she doesn't have a head. Wherever I had it previously when I was playing, kind of grabbing pieces for this, I had liked it, and then squirrel brain, I forgot where I'd initially had it. And then you see me tearing the receipt. Don't be afraid to tear up your stuff, your vintage stuff, whatever. It's fine. As I've said before, we can't take it with us, so let's just enjoy it and use it. I'm trying to conserve space, and that's why I'm, tearing it down, cutting it down. I don't mind some dangly bits on the bottom. I'm okay with a rough edge, and so I'm just kind of layering and moving. That's too low, that's too high. Again, the whole Goldilocks thing. I need it just right. And when I initially cut this, you can see I'm cutting down a little bit. There was still too much of the white, and it was distracting my eye, if that makes sense. So I just kind of cut down. Sometimes I don't mind the white, and sometimes I just need it cut. And I think because red is such a bold color, I needed to cut it. The contrast was just way too much. And the color palette I'm going here or working with, I should say, is we've got the reds from the apron, the black and the white, right? We've got the black in the background paper. We've got black in the font of my typewriter. The little bakery has pink and red and black and white, so that pulls it together. Plus we need the yellowy, creamy colors, and that's where the general receipt and some of those Dear Lizzie florals come in and play together. And it kind of picks up on her skin, on the bundt cake, on the florals, and it kind of just, you just kind of want those colors to be cohesive and kind of ping pong around. So that's where I decide, see, a little thumbs up means I like it. That's my way of telling you guys, yes, that's what I want. So I had this ephemera piece, and initially I thought I was going to use it, but later I don't end up using it. I use something else. So now I'm just trying to get the last minute, I guess, arrangement, and I think it still changes like a million times. I wanted to cover up part of the strip, of the Instax there, and I'm trying to figure it out. And you see me pull out this, I think this is October Afternoon. It's a little date taken ephemera piece. And I was like, let me do that. I like that because I can take a photo of when it was taken. And of course, I'm already adding foam tape to this because, your girl's going to be adding some thread to that. So I already know it's going to need to be propped up a little bit. Plus, me, I like dimension and height. I like a thick and chunky junk journal. That yummy piece is also from October Afternoon. Pretty soon we're going to say it's vintage October Afternoon, right? Can you believe that? I wish they'd come back, but at least Stephen Duncan's working for Cartabella, right? Thank God for that. Okay, so I'm just grabbing some more. I'm thinking I want to pull some green, so I grabbed that bingo card. And again, I'm just trying to rough up the edges. It doesn't need to be so pretty sometimes. And this was just calling for messy. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know, maybe because baking is messy, maybe because I just, needed some more textury bits about it because the receipt is torn. But I don't end up using that bingo card. I think I felt like the green was not right. Don't mind me just stretching. Crafter's hands, right? Wrists are killing. So I grab a little like berry carton, those like cardboard ones that you get from Amazon. And I grab from my scraps this pink glittery paper. And at first I like it, and then I don't. That's just kind of I can't seem to figure out what I want there. And I decide, do I like it? Do I not? I ended up calling my husband over at one point because he was walking by, and he's like, yeah, I like it. And I'm like, I don't. He's like, okay then. He's so funny. He'll come in and go, I think you need more of this color or that. I think I've helped train his eye. He's so sweet. So I'm just kind of trying to get it right. I grabbed that black and white paper thinking I needed some more black and white. And then I grabbed that old Maggie Holmes paper with the doily, and I said, no, I already have a doily. I grabbed this scrap piece of yellow paper, and then, move everything about because now I think I'm like just not quite frustrated, but everything keeps shuffling. When you're trying to get things arranged in your hands, just kind of keep moving things. No, just me? Okay. So again, I'm just trying to layer this up and see how I want this to lay. I don't know what it is. It's like sometimes it just lays perfectly, and sometimes it just takes a bit to come together. But I'm glad I kept messing around with it. So I think this is the point where I pull out that. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm not having that. Next. So I'm just kind of, I think a branding strip or something is what I have there. And again, my old school scissors with like the alligator teeth. That's a piece of like corkboard paper. That used to be a thing. I kind of like it because it's textury. I think we need more of that. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure like Die Cuts with a View or something has some of that. But so, still trying to decide. I have my cart behind me, and I went and grabbed some paint strips, and I have some that are cut down pretty narrow, and I'm trying to decide what colors I want to go with. And I believe I initially go with this like buttery yellow, and it was a great idea. I liked it. Okay, how do I want to use it? I'm trying to match the cake to the color and just kind of trim it down with my paper trimmer. And to me, those were the best colors at the time. And as I start layering it, can you guess what happens? I don't like it. So I go, okay, let me tear up these edges. Maybe that's what I need to do, you know? And I'm roughing it, and then I forget, if you tear, I think up, it gives you the white edge. If you tear down, it doesn't, just the way the paper tears. So now I have to redo it again, and that little piece gets smaller and smaller until it looks like you got banana peels on your table and just a little bit of yellow. So again, rough up the edges. I'm roughing up this red piece, these little dots, and you got to be careful when you're doing this because those are sharp scissors, and you could cut yourself. So I'm pulling out my little tiny attacher and stapling that torn edge, and I end up flipping it around because I wanted it to hang out at the bottom, which is funny because you don't end up seeing it later. I go right there and cover it up. Again, here comes that black and white star paper. Fingers are dancing. That means I'm thinking. I'm looking at the top, and I'm grabbing some more paint chip strips, and I'm using my, I think it's We Are Memory Keeper. Oh no, not that. Just kidding. I decided to match that green. The teapots and everything, what are those, vases or whatever? I don't know, some jars. The yellow was just too distracting for this color palette, and it wasn't sitting well. So I decided to get that out of there and go with another green. The bingo card was too green, like too grassy green, and I needed softer greens. So I have this paint strip, and the top color is graceful green, and then the other two colors I can't see, but I start layering it after I've roughed up the edges like I've done, the little red piece of paper, scrapbook paper, and to me that just felt so much better because it really picks up those teapots, and it works so well. And then the font on the paint chip card is actually like a silvery gray, and the center water jar or whatever that is, that's also gray. So it just kind of just worked so well together. I love when that comes together after all the messing about and moving and all that sort of stuff. So now I'm deciding, okay, that black and white piece is done. I do like that, I don't know, what is that, like crepe paper, that little star piece of scrap paper. I don't even know if it's a branding strip or just a scrap piece. And I go, okay, I think this is what I want. There's another just scrap piece of paper. Y'all should see how many scraps I have because I can use it, right? We hold on to the scraps. I mean, look how tiny that scrap is. Okay, so I'm just stapling it together just to kind of hold it in place. That way, since I had such a rough time deciding where I wanted to lay, I just was like, let me just staple it so I don't have to worry about it. And all I have to do is just stick it down now at this point. So I'm just adding some double-sided tape and trying to make sure I don't tear that vintage guest check. We love vintage, but it is delicate sometimes. So, and then I'm adding a little bit of art glitter glue. I kept calling it PVA. It's art glitter glue, and I got it, I think, off Amazon. And then just added that little strip of, like, is it like a pink or reddish white kind of polka dots on a off-white background. So again, just cleaning up and gonna lay that down. I mean, I know I cover up most of the kitchen, but you get an idea that it's a kitchen. You see the cabinets, you see the hood range. You you know what's behind it, even though you don't have to see it. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this too, is kind of take it off the scrapbook paper, use some stash that you have. Maybe you have some vintage magazines, maybe you have regular like Good Housekeeping, like current magazines or whatever. Don't be afraid to use what you have in your stash and make that your own paper. It kind of just adds varying interest to your layouts and to your albums and to your spreads and stuff. It's super fun. And I really like doing that. So I'm just adding some double-sided tape. Nothing exciting. It always fights with me more, I feel like, when I'm on camera than when I'm not. But maybe it's just because I'm on there, I feel like it is. So I'm just layering again, trying to figure out where I want things, gluing things down. Adding some double-sided tape to the bakery ephemera. And deciding which pin I want to use. So I want to add it. I went ahead and added a little bit of, gosh, what is it? That zip pin or something to the doily, because it's more accurate and I can pinpoint where I want the glue for the little doily piece. Again, another scrap. I can use it. So now I'm just finishing up my foam tape. You can see Big Bertha there. She's hanging out. She's always making an appearance. And just adding all the pieces. And I think this is where I grabbed some thread in a little bit. So again, still trying to figure out. And the thing with this is you got to figure out how much adhesive to use, and you got to, like, you know, figure out to make sure you don't have it hang over the edge, because the last thing you want is this page to stick to your next page or whatever, right? So you got to be aware of that when you're layering and things are falling off the edge. Make sure you flip it over often, or if you need to, maybe like do a pencil outline so that you don't add adhesive outside those lines, so to speak, because that kind of really ruins the whole thing. So just adding and kind of just double checking and then making sure it all works. I wanted to cover the corner and just kind of have the floral hanging out. I liked that florally edge instead of a straight line. And then I'm just going to use some more double-sided tape to get the last little bit that is covered, and make sure that's secured, because that can be a kind of a heavy corner as I start going, and I want to make sure it sits there and it doesn't droop or fall off. So I'm just adding that little, I think it's crepe paper, like I said, strip of scrap paper, and making sure it just kind of hangs slightly over onto the floral. Then I'm going to add, is this where we get our threads? Maybe. Oh no, this fun little tool. I got that from my friend Sarah. She gave us some. It's so pretty. It's got some stars on it. And I was like, maybe this is what I want instead of threads. So I cut like a little shape to kind of lay behind the bakery and to try to rouge it a little bit, kind of squish it together. And I was trying to see if I wanted to do that, but I didn't like it. I think for the same reason as the yellow strip. It was too yellowy, just the gold, the tone wasn't right. So I wanted to keep it more in a, what is that, like a cooler palette? I don't know. It just didn't work. So yeah, here I start going for the threads, and I'm going to pull a red to match her top and the apron, some greens for the paint strip, yellows, that's not too yellowy, and of course I hit the camera, sorry guys, yellowy to match the cake without being too bright, right? Because then we're back to that whole paint strip issue. And I did add some green, I don't know if I said green, that kind of picks up off the paint strip, it picks off the florals, and it just pulls that together. And again, just kind of adding all the colors. I think I did a couple shades of green, and just kind of playing with it to decide how I want it to go. Now I did want it to stretch above the bakery and over to where the date taken October afternoon piece is. And so I kind of had to play with it. And this is the not so fun part because I don't want the colors to look too stringy as far as like, I wanted it to still look nice without looking coordinated. I don't know how to explain that, but so I got it just right. It still looks kind of messy and you see the colors, and I was good with that. So just did my usual, you know, squish and rub of the foam tape just to make sure it's there, some more Fabri-tac, and I had to clean up my nozzle there. It gets so gunky sometimes. So I really like Fabri-tac, I've said before. It just works really well for the threads. It just adheres to them so well. And then I'm just going to add some Fabri-tac to that October afternoon piece. I don't stamp that on camera. I do it after with a date stamp in my stash. And I think I go in, oh, I still have to add my little yummy sentiment. So I decide to put it like it's coming out of one of the, the lady's mouth that's on the apron. And I just add a little bit of green to be a contrast to that red and pink. The pink for the sentiment and the red from the top of her top. And then of course we know black and green already goes well together. You already see it in the layout. So just adding a little green there. And not too much like the other threads. So here's where I use that like hole punch reinforcer, and I use the same green as the paint strip, and I'm just going to use some more of that ArtGlitter glue and adhered those so that it matches and it kind of pops and it makes it fun. So that's a great way to add some more color to your layouts. So there's the end of my video. I will send you some, or not send you, I'll show you some stills. So thanks again for checking out my video. Have a great day. Bye, guys.